One of the books that marked me as a young person was Voltaire's Candide, and the character in Candide of Pangloss, who used to teach his protege that we live in the best of all possible worlds. Now, there's no doubt that the very, very few who control the fates of everyone out there would love us to believe that Pangloss is right. And that, yes, this world sucks, it has lots of problems, but it is the best of all possible worlds. Every ruling class wants us to believe that Pangloss was right. And if for a moment we lose our will to imagine an alternative present, an alternative set of circumstances, then we become slaves to whoever happens to be in power. And that's true today. It was true in the Roman Empire, in the Byzantine Empire, in any kind of regime. So is it possible to imagine a different system? This is a very interesting question, you see, because I spent all my life as a critic of capitalism avoiding the question because it's so hard. It's such a hard question. So no, I mean, I wouldn't avoid the question. I would say, yes, it is possible to imagine a different world. But then when someone like you said to me, okay, so how would that world work? Then I would evade, because it's too difficult to come up with an answer. Okay, so how should money work? What about land? What about, corporations? How should we structure the ownership of corporations? How should decision-making take place in corporations? And some years ago, my wife then confronted me and said, I've had enough of you complaining about the world we live in. You are not allowed to continue, not another word from you until you come up with an answer to these questions. So this is why, and you will allow me to do some promotion here, this is why I published this last September, which is my novel in which I try to answer your question. How can I imagine an alternative now, another now?
Just a question for you, a personal question. Do you think there is enough people that really wants democracy?
Yes, I do think so. I do think so. The problem is, I mean, everybody wants control over their lives. Now, the problem is that when there is more than one of us, my control impedes upon your control. And the more complicated and complex society becomes, the greater the way in which my control impinges upon yours. And democracy is the only way of giving to each one of us a degree of control consistent with everybody else controlling their lives. Also, the questions that concern all of us are very difficult questions, and none of us are smart enough to have the answers. So for me, democracy is a system, as my friend Brian Eno, the musician, says, Democrats are people who understand that they don't have the answers and who get together to crowdsource the answers. And I think there is a big need out there for that. People are fed up with what is presented to them as democracy, because it's not democracy. It's oligarchy with occasional stupid elections and expensive elections. And the tragedy is that very often this disappointment at the lack of democracy leads lots of people who want control of their lives to fall prey to fascism, because fascists are very good at exploiting this disappointment and the hopelessness, and they say to them, like Mussolini did, like Salvini does, like Vox in Spain, here they are right wing, I'll make you proud again. I'll give you control of your country again. Let's just get rid of the foreigner, the Jew, the Arab, the Romanian, the German, the Italian, whatever, right? So, fascism is the dark side of the need for democracy.